Carlos Alcaraz, Iga Swiatek win their first ever titles at Cincinnati. So they mark off a huge milestone in their careers. Swiatek really battling for it. Carlos Alcaraz maybe wins the luckiest title of his career. Okay, stick around. We're going to talk about it from the quarterfinals for these players onwards. Let's start with Carlos Alcaraz. Okay, luckiest title of his career ever. And let's not, celebrate it too hard because, of course, Carlos is a competitor. This is not the way that he would have wanted to win Cincinnati. Of course, he wants to come back from Wimbledon and defeat his rival, but he does get it done. Let's back up a little bit and talk about Carlos throughout the broad scope of the tournament. If you were in some of the live streams, you probably caught on to how I felt about Alcaraz throughout the tournament. He did not come into this tournament playing extremely well. Throughout parts of this tournament, he looked sloppy. The forehand, the backhand just wasn't there. And really, it was a lot on the run. Whenever Carlos, we've grown so used to Carlos, being on the run and switching directions and firing a winner down the line, cross court, dipping a huge topspin shot at the feet of his opponents. We did not see that Carlos for 90% of the tournament. This came to a head in the Andrei Rublev match, in which Carlos did pull out in 3 sets due to a double fault from Andrei Rublev at the very end of the match. Really, almost heartbreaking to watch from Andrei Rublev because he did everything right in this match. He was playing so well. He was the better player in the match for most of it. I can't put a percentage on it. Most of it. The serve was amazing. Carlos not even really able to get very many balls into play. His serve return was just not there. You could see it on the run. He was missing, whether in the net or spraying it long, wide, whatever it was. It seemed like Carlos was on the ropes. And that is what I had kind of predicted and thought coming into the match, which is why I foolishly, but I really don't think it was foolish. I took Andrei Rublev in this match because I saw the form that Rublev was in. This was his best opportunity. There was blood in the water. He could have got this done. But in the end, Carlos comes up with the big moments and takes that win. Semifinals. He moves on, plays Alexander Zverev. The first set of this match, Carlos Alcaraz begins to look like the Carlos Alcaraz that we know and recognize. Forehand is there. Backhand is there. He's coming into the net with, some exciting points. The serve. Maybe the most reliable thing from Carlos this whole tournament that probably took him through the tournament, that carried him, was the serve. His serve has looked phenomenal as of late. And that's the one thing that I keep looking at him and I keep watching and I'm thinking, how and when did this guy's serve get so good? In any case, Alexander Zverev not at the top of his game. We saw in the quarterfinal matchup against Ben Shelton that he was struggling physically. Again, I bet against Alcaraz in this match because I just thought Zverev, I paid too close attention to, I suppose, the medical things that were happening with Zverev. That is the difference maker in the end of this match. Zverev is tired and beleaguered, maybe suffering from side effects due to diabetes. But Carlos Alcaraz, at the beginning of the match, played a whole lot better. And that was the first flash of the original Alcaraz that we saw. So a little bit disappointing there for Zverev, and knowing, how far, if he's ever going to win that major, can he play an entire 2 weeks of 5-setters? Or not everything's going to be a 5-setter, but 3 out of 5 sets. So a little bit of concern there for Zverev. Moving on to the final, there's not a whole lot to say about the final. You know how it ended. Carlos Alcaraz wins 5-0 due to a walkover. And big surprise. No one saw this coming. And disappointing, because Jannik Sinner was playing some of the best tennis in this tournament that we have seen from any player in the last 18 months. Jannik Sinner was winning matches in record time. He took out FAA in the quarterfinals 0-2 very handily within like an hour and 15 minutes. He took out the star of the tournament, Terrence Attmain. Okay, can we give it up for Terrence Attmain? He moves up 67 spots in the world to number 69 in the world for a show-out tournament. Man, watching that guy play was... I can't even think of the right thing to say for him other than excellent job. That's it. Because Terrence Attmain is incredible when he is on. He does not want a ball to last more than 5 shots. He's looking for an opening, a winner, and he's going to finish the job if he can. Unfortunately, we're not going to see him play at the U.S. Open. He is set to spend the U.S. Open recovering from Cincinnati, which may be a great decision for him because there are a couple Masters 1000s coming up. He's done the best in his career he's done at Masters 1000 tournaments. So if he wants to continue moving up the rankings, that may be the best strategy. But as far as fans and hype is concerned, we would, of course, love to see Terrence Attmain there at the U.S. Open. Hope that he's able to heal up and get ready for some of the Masters. Back to Jannik Sinner. This sets a really interesting stage for the U.S. Open because Jannik Sinner may be coming in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He does have to defend the U.S. Open after not having been able to defend Cincinnati. And he is going to be coming in hot and ready to win this tournament. I don't care how Alcaraz looked there. You still got to put up a really good argument to bet against Jannik at the U.S. Open because this was just an illness. It will pass and he will be ready. So look out for another Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner final at the U.S. Open. And Iga Swiatek, she comes back after having lost in the round of 16 at the Montreal Open and rolls through Cincinnati, not losing a single set, looking at the very top of her game right now, and going to be very devastating to watch at the U.S. Open. But let's talk quarterfinals to the final. Quarterfinal, she plays Anna Kalinskaya. Not a whole lot to say here other than Iga Swiatek was unplayable. Anna Kalinskaya had no answers for anything that Swiatek threw at her. She wins that one 6-3, 6-4. Let's move on to the semifinal because there is a whole lot to talk about in the semifinal that Swiatek played against Elena Rybakina. Because Elena Rybakina came into this match off of a stunning victory against Sabalenka. Okay? Elena Rybakina served incredible against Sabalenka, but not only was she serving incredible, the forehand and the backhand were dialed in. She was painting the lines yellow, and Arena had no responses throughout that entire match. She was on the back foot, maybe calling a little bit into question her having missed Montreal. Is Arena going to be in the best form that she can be to defend the US Open? I don't know. But what I do know is that Elena Rybakina came into the semifinal really, really good. And she started the match really, really well. Also, Swiatek started a little on the back foot. I wouldn't say that she started slow. I would simply say Elena was playing a lot better. The serve was still there, and she looked like she was going to continue that form that she played in the quarterfinal. She gets up 5-3 in the first set. Rybakina does, and Swiatek comes into play. And she comes back in that set and wins it. And that was the beginning of the end for Elena Rybakina. In the second set, Elena Rybakina's serve dipped. Her confidence got shaky. And Swiatek just rolled from there and took that one in 2 sets. Moving on to the not to the semifinal, to the final. Jasmine Paolini, Pow, plays Swiatek, and another similar thing happens. Jasmine Paolini comes into this match really, really good, looking in her best position to get a Cincinnati Masters 1000 at the age of 29. And she came off of a win against Coco Gauff that it was a topsy-turvy kind of win. Okay. Coco took that first set from Pow, and then we open up the second set with 5 consecutive breaks of serve, I believe, 5 or 6 of them. Coco racked up double faults, but Jasmine Paolini sticks in there throughout a turbulent match and pulls the quarterfinal out, the semifinal out, and then moves into the final where she is a significant underdog, probably with a 20% chance to win. And she opens this thing up after that disappointing final with Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. She opens this thing up and goes up 3-0 quick. And all of a sudden, we're thinking, is this going to be Jasmine Paolini's moment? Is she going to make some greatness happen? Not if Swiatek has something to say about it, which she does because she is on the court with a Technofiber tennis racket, and that is her weapon. She fires back to win 5 consecutive games, completely taking the legs out from under Jasmine Paolini. And throughout that match, even at the beginning, Swiatek was missing, but she was missing because she was going for lines. She was going for angles. She clearly had a game plan here that Jasmine Paolini had played a lot of tennis and needed to run around a little bit. So that was clearly in Swiatek's game plan, that she was going to wear out the endurance of Jasmine Paolini. But Jasmine Paolini she played a brilliant match because we saw the heart and grit from her in that match. She had the more incredible points. It was one of those matches where you saw Jasmine Paolini on the ropes, and then all of a sudden she fires a winner on the run. And that was one of those things where the mental toughness from Swiatek was the standout, because Jasmine Paolini, although she is tired, she is hungry, and she was fighting back really, really hard to get some energy get something else, that it factor that could roll her through, potentially at least winning a set. And Swiatek served for the match at one point, and Jasmine Paolini won that game. In fact, and then there was another point where it was kind of a funny thing, but Jasmine Paolini serves, and then Swiatek returns the ball, and Jasmine Paolini completely whiffed on the ball. And this was after a couple of points where she looked really tired and exhausted. She completely whiffed the ball, and she doesn't get angry. She doesn't get frustrated. She just like turns, looks at her box, and laughs. And for a weird moment, that miss actually helped energize her and liven her up a little bit, and to help her forget about the weariness. So that was kind of funny to watch. But in any case, Swiatek ends up in this set, the second set, weathering a couple of comeback opportunities from Paolini. Paolini did have more break point opportunities than Swiatek throughout the match, but Swiatek was extremely effective in the break points that she got. She secured all but maybe one of the break points that she had, and I believe she broke Paolini 6 times throughout the match. There were a couple of breaks in that second set that made the match very interesting. In any case, Jasmine Paolini moves up to number 8 in the world. Swiatek moves up to number 2 in the world, surpassing Coco Gauff, who had a lackluster tournament. And Iga Swiatek is going to be scary coming into the U.S. Open. Also going to be looking out for Elena Rybakina and Aryna Sabalenka. What is she going to do? How is she going to respond to this big, really kind of a big disappointing loss in Cincinnati? Stick around. You're going to want to see the U.S. Open and check out the streams as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching my video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me about something that you would like to see posted on this channel. I also do live commentary on major matches, so tune in for that as well. Thank you for watching.